So as we take 30 seconds to just go into the silence to give thanks for our lives individually and collectively as we come together. May we bless all of those that are on this call and had intentions to be on the call. May we bless those that are sick and shut in with this global timeout. May we bless all of those first responders that are caring for those that are sick and shut in. May we bless all of those that are feeling afraid as we use the breath as a tool to relax the body. May we bless those that are hurt, because hurt people hurt people. So as we send these blessings out, we invite those that have come before us, our ancestors, upon whose shoulders we stand. And we ask for their guidance and their protection as we share this information through the Global Educational Exchange Coalition, GEEC.
If you have any questions during our conversation, during the presentation, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Any comments, any ideas, any suggestions. This platform is for you, especially the young people. So we want to hear from you, your ideas, your thoughts. And of course, as we get further into our dialogue, definitely feel free to raise your hand or jump in with the question. Now, we are gonna go ahead and keep this thing moving. Our first presentation is about a really great opportunity that's coming up. I'm going to pass it to Ephraim so that he can tell you a little bit more about it.
We have an opportunity. Those of you that's been with us for a while, you know we do a program called Steam the Block. We've done Steam the Block in South Africa. We've done Steam the Block in DC, and we have an opportunity to do Steam the Block in Alabama with Space Camp. Now, this is a project that is really centered for South African students going to Alabama. But what we're going to strive to do is have American students meet the South African students in Alabama, and we'll have Steam the Block in Alabama. So it'll be a week of learning about space. If you go to the next slide, there's a picture of a rocket. Can you advance it, Lamont? All right, so you can go back one. All right, in that picture you see there's two rockets, and to the left is actually space station. That's an old one, but we'll get to learn all about that. And after we finish there, we'll actually take a trip to, most of us have heard of Martin Luther King, and in Alabama is where Martin Luther King did most of his work. There's a monument, there's the church, all of that. So that'll be a part of our week-long field trip. So that'll be part of the package as well. So I know South African as well as American students, that'll be a highlight of the trip. Basically, this opportunity is a grant that we have to submit on the 15th of July, so next week. Okay, so phase one is going to be a series of workshops, sort of like what we're doing right now. We're meeting virtually, and we'll be discussing with the learners about the history of space exploration. Phase two is actually us organizing in a way that we can take 10 learners from South Africa to meet us in Huntsville, Alabama. So just by giving a yay, you can take your mic off of mute, and I want to hear how many students are interested in going. So give me a yay.
Yes. Yay.
Yay.
Yay! Yay!
Okay, all right. All right. right, good deal. Okay, so the next slide is some history. You see with the blue uniform on, that's really how the astronauts dress. And so those 9 students from South Africa actually went this year. February 2020, they were at Huntsville, Alabama Space Camp. So we want to send another group of 9 to 10 South African and then have the Americans to meet them as well. A grant opportunity will pay for South African students to travel there. Unfortunately, it is not for American students to travel, but we'll work out a way to where we'll get American students there and all will be well.
And question number 6 is on the screen. When did humans first attempt launch into space? Is it red 1912? Blue 1961? Is it yellow 2002? Is it green 1971? Okay. This one we were a little bit split. If you said 1961, you are correct. You are correct. Let's see, some folks said 71. 1961 is when humans first attempted to launch into space. The gentleman you see on the screen, his name is Yuri. He's a cosmonaut. And of course, as we know, once the Soviets launched the first manned flight into outer space, that launched the space race, which traveled all the way to the 60s with the US and a few other countries jumping in on the race to space.